Welcome to a new episode of Drops of Science, the multilingual scientific podcast that selects for you the latest news in natural sciences. Let's start by talking about national biodiversity policies. According to new research from the University of Surrey, these policies often overlook the potential of individual behavioral changes, which are crucial to making a concrete difference in conservation efforts. An analysis of more than 1,000 policy actions from 10 countries reveals that only 11% identify specific behaviors to be modified to support biodiversity, while only 3% provide details on how to encourage these changes, especially those related to individual motivation. Current policies focus mainly on large-scale interventions, such as resource management or environmental regulation, neglecting the impact of everyday behaviors, such as consumption habits, that significantly contribute to biodiversity loss. When behavioral change is mentioned, it is often vague, with little guidance on what people should do differently. The analysis found that many policies aim to provide knowledge and resources to improve individual capacity for behavior change. However, they rarely address personal motivation, which is essential for lasting change. Emotions and habits which strongly influence behaviors are almost completely ignored. Interventions that encourage positive desires or pro-environmental habits, such as rewards for ecological actions or penalties for breaking specific rules, are missing in most of the policies. Another gap concerns social opportunity. The social and cultural influences that drive people to conform to pro-environmental norms are often overlooked, although they can play a key role in behavioral changes. The findings suggest that more effective strategies should also consider social and cultural aspects, such as the mutual influence among individuals and their communities. Finally, policies tend to focus on behavior that directly affect biodiversity, such as hunting or agriculture, while ignoring behaviors with indirect impacts, like consumption patterns or political support for conservation, are essential for long-term sustainable change, but are rarely included in national biodiversity plans. The study authors suggest that stopping global biodiversity loss requires an integrated approach that also addresses the root causes of environmental degradation, such as the economic, social, and cultural dynamics that influence individual behavior. Addressing these issues means recognizing the influence of social structures in policy and encouraging change at personal scale. Despite the lack of specific governmental actions to safeguard biodiversity, studies on the impact of human activities on the environment are increasing. In California, a new study investigated the impact of military sonar, which is known to disturb, harm, and even kill various marine species. Dr. Brandon Southall and his collaborators studied the behavioral responses of social delphinids exposed to mid-frequency military sonar, using a combination of drone photogrammetry, acoustic recorders, and large-scale visual observations to measure different aspects of the behavior of short and long-beaked common dolphins. The results revealed fine-scale changes in movement, including direct and sustained avoidance, as well as changes in group configurations. In short-beaked dolphins, the main response was an increase in speed during sonar exposure, particularly in groups moving slowly before exposure. The likelihood of behavioral change was directly proportional to the maximum sonar noise level. Additionally, some groups showed greater cohesion after exposure, suggesting a delayed grouping. Acoustic responses were detected only in very short time frames, confirming the dolphins' sensitivity to high-frequency sounds. In contrast, long-beaked dolphins showed a decrease in group cohesion after sonar exposure, with a tendency for groups to split into more subgroups in the post-exposure phase. In fast-moving groups, a slowdown was observed during exposure, an opposite behavior to that of short-beaked dolphins. This is the first study to measure marine mammal responses to sonar directly. The researchers emphasize that understanding how these animals respond to such acoustic signals is essential to mitigate the negative effect of this type of disturbance on social species that rely heavily on sound for communication, feeding, and other crucial aspects of their lives. Continuing on the relationship between human and biodiversity, let's discuss an interesting study on plant awareness disparity, a phenomenon referring to people's lack of attention, recognition, and appreciation for plants and their importance. Despite plants being fundamental to human survival and well-being, their social relevance is often undervalued in high-income countries, where environmental awareness is generally lacking. Conversely, in rural areas and among indigenous populations, plants hold high value in daily life. A Spanish research team led by Dr. Joaquim Querol y Marcadet studied the relationship between plants and people in rural areas of industrialized countries, focusing on the Pyrenees. Using an exploratory approach, the study employed in-depth interviews that covered various aspects of oral culture, sayings, songs, legends, local and family customs, such as flower gathering and certain funeral rituals, emotional ties through personal stories and memories, as well as individual representations and assessments of plants. During interviews, participants mentioned 104 local names corresponding to 99 plant species from 46 botanical families, demonstrating a deep knowledge of plant diversity. Overall, 36 sayings, 16 songs, and 4 legends were collected, with an uneven distribution among participants. While some sayings and songs didn't necessarily originate in the valley, all the legends were local. The local knowledge holders shared a wide array of cultural, familial, and individual expressions that highlight their connections with the valley's botanical heritage, including 53 stories, 27 traditions, and 30 family practices related to plants, all infused with a shared sense of cultural identity. When asked about their appreciation of plants, participants expressed how they occupy a special place in their hearts, with some highlighting their aesthetic beauty and others emphasizing their edible and medicinal properties. These rural communities maintain deep emotional ties with local plants, which are seen not only as resources but also as integral parts of their cultural identity and daily lives. This suggests that emotional connections may be the key to helping people notice and value plants. The findings indicate that understanding the role of traditional knowledge and emotional bonds in fostering plant appreciation could help develop more effective methods to promote plant awareness in schools and urban areas. Now, let's turn to animals, in particular to the stag beetle, Lucanus cervus, the largest saproxylic beetle in Europe. Known for its striking appearance and charismatic behavior, it is considered an iconic species, protected under the European Union's Habitat Directive. These insects exhibit pronounced sexual dimorphism, meaning that males and females have distinct forms. In this case, male stag beetles possess greatly enlarged mandibles that serve as weapons. In this species, mandible size is allometric, meaning it scales with body size. Larger males develop extremely large mandibles, while smaller males have smaller ones, resulting in polymorphism. During the breeding season, large mandibles become essential as males compete for females through ritualized ground combat. Larger males with bigger mandibles are more likely to win these contests, while smaller males still survive because they consume fewer resources during the larva stage and are more agile flyers. But why do smaller males still exist despite the advantages of larger males in combat? An Italian research team from the University of Parma documented for the first time an alternative mating tactic that favors smaller males. During mating aggregations, in addition to ground combat, researchers observed unique flight aggregations where males performed concentric flights. When a female approached, she was grabbed mid-flight by one of these smaller males, and the pair would fall to the ground. The winning male held the female with his mandibles to transport her to a safe area, away from rivals, before copulation, although interference attempts by other males were frequent. In flight aggregations, female transport was shorter, and copulation lasted longer. Additionally, these aggregations occurred in areas with sparse undergrowth and tended to be more frequent early in the mating season. In these situations, smaller males have a significant advantage. Their size and smaller mandibles make them much more agile in flight than larger males. Therefore, differentiated reproductive tactics seem to favor and preserve the morphological diversity of male stag beetles. Our final story takes us to the Cretaceous period of South Korea, where the discovery of a series of unique footprints has revealed a new use for wings in dinosaurs. It is known that feathers and wings existed in certain lineages of these ancient animals around 200 million years ago. Although not used for flight, these structures likely served various purposes, such as insulation or as display ornaments for mating. However, feathers may also have had a previously unconsidered locomotive function. A team of researchers analyzed a trackway of fossilized footprints belonging to Dromaeosauriformipes rarus, a non-avian raptor, meaning not from the evolutionary line that led to birth, in the lower Cretaceous Ginju Formation of Albion. These small dinosaurs had wings, but they were too small to enable actual flight. The peculiar feature of this trackway was the unusually large distance between each step, which was too wide for the dinosaurs' estimated body size of 10 to 20 grams. By applying the principles of running biomechanics, the researchers concluded that these atypical footprints provide indirect evidence of pre-avian aerial behavior. The footprints document the use of wings to generate aerodynamic force during running, suggesting that these small dinosaurs used aerodynamic support to increase speed, a behavior also seen in young modern birds using wings too small for true flight. A smaller body mass lowers the physical and energetic barriers for various types of aerial locomotion, making it likely that small feathered dinosaurs experienced this form of wing-assisted movement. This discovery adds valuable insight into our understanding of dinosaurs and highlights the importance of fossilized traces like footprints. Unlike bones, which show physical capacities, traces capture in-life behaviors, allowing us to verify and enrich existing reconstructions of these ancient animals' behaviors. This concludes today's episode of Drops of Science. Thanks for staying with us. See you soon, and good science!